Welcome to Coyote's Corner. This episode, we'll be listening to Michael Lang tell Coyote and the Giant.
On a cool, sunny day, Coyote was wandering through the forest, creeping from one shadow to the next, sniffing here and there as he went on his way. The leaves of the trees had just begun to turn from green to gold, red, and brown, and some of them were falling that day as Coyote continued on his way. He suddenly heard the sound of laughter on the breeze, and Coyote was curious, for Coyote is always curious, and so he followed that sound till he came to a small mountain lake, and there upon the shore he saw children gathered, and as he watched, one of the children, an older boy, scooped up a stone and tossed it across the waters of the lake. But to Coyote's amazement, when the stone struck the water, it did not sink. Instead, it leapt like a frog, hopping from one lily pad to the next, and the children began to count. 1, 2, 3. The stone sank out of sight. Coyote thought the children must have some sort of magic. As he watched, a little girl scooped up another stone, and she tossed it across the water. But once again, the stone did not sink when it struck the water. Instead, it leapt like a frog, hopping from one lily pad to the next, and the children counted once again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The stone sank out of sight. Coyote was now certain the children had some sort of magic. He began to creep closer, but the little girl caught sight of Coyote. "Coyote, what are you doing?" "Oh, I heard your laughter on the breeze, and I saw you tossing those stones across the water. How is it that you make them leap like frogs?" "Oh, Coyote, we're skipping stones." "Skipping stones? How do you make a stone skip?" "Oh, it's easy, Coyote. I can show you how. But first you need a perfect stone." Coyote looked about. At his feet he saw an enormous rock. He grabbed hold and heaved with all his might. "Coyote, you can't skip a stone that large. You need a stone that's small, round, and smooth." Coyote looked around once more, and he saw a stone that was small enough to fit in the center of his paw. It was round, and it was smooth. The little girl then showed Coyote how to hold the stone, how to flick his wrist just right, and to his amazement, when he threw that stone, it skipped across the water. "Ow!" Coyote was so excited, he went scampering about till he found another stone. And this time, when he threw the stone, it skipped twice. He scampered all around till he found another stone. Coyote skipped one stone after another. He stayed with the children all day, and by the time the sun was sinking low, Coyote could make a stone skip 5 times. But it was getting late, and the children insisted they had to get home. "Oh, but we're having so much fun. Stay and play a little longer." "Coyote, there is a terrible giant who lives in the forest. If he catches us after dark, he'll eat us alive. We have to get home now." Coyote laughed. "I have lived in the forest my entire life. I have never heard of such a giant. Please stay a little longer. We're having so much fun." But the children insisted they had to get home, and so they left. But Coyote stayed. He skipped one stone after another. The sun went down and the moon came up, but still Coyote was skipping stones, till a shadow fell over him. "Coyote!" He looked up, and there was an enormous giant made entirely of stone, looming over him. It was reaching down with one enormous hand. "I'm going to eat you, Coyote." Wait, you can't eat me. You can't eat me because I challenge you. I challenge you, giant, to a stone-skipping contest. "Ha! I am the greatest stone skipper in all the land." The giant reached for an enormous rock. "Wait, you have to give me time to find a perfect skipping stone." "Very well, Coyote. I will give you 5 minutes to find your perfect stone." 5 minutes? Yes, certainly I can find a stone in 5 minutes. I have found plenty of stones all day." Coyote began running about, looking here and there for a stone, but he could not find one. He scampered even more frantically as his time ran shorter and shorter, dashing this way and that through the shallows of the lake. What was he going to do? Hey, what are you doing?" Coyote looked around. Down here. There was a small box turtle in the mud in the shallows of the lake. It was looking up at Coyote. "What you doing?" "I'm looking for a stone. I need a perfect skipping stone so I can beat this giant. I have to beat him in a stone-skipping contest, or he's going to eat me." "Maybe I can help." Coyote was not sure how the little turtle could help, After all, he needed a stone that was smooth and round and small. The turtle was small, and if he were to tuck his head, his tail, and his legs into his shell, he would be round as well, and his shell was certainly smooth. Yes, little turtle. Yes, I think you can help me. Could you tuck your head and your tail and your legs into your shell? Okay. And so the turtle did, and Coyote scooped him up. He ran back to where the giant was waiting, keeping his paws cupped so the giant would not see he was holding a turtle instead of a stone. Since you are the greatest stone skipper in all the land, you go first. Very well. Beat this. The giant hurled its enormous rock across the water, and together he and Coyote counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The stone sank out of sight, and Coyote's heart sank with it. He had never skipped a stone more than 5 times. How was he ever going to beat 10? He took a deep breath. He kept his paws cupped around the turtle, gave it a toss, and together he and the giant counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The turtle skipped out of the lake. It bounced off a tree and came back. 12, 13. The turtle sank out of sight. The giant shook with rage. He had been beaten by Coyote. He shook and he shook. He was so furious. He did not see the trail of bubbles zigzagging their way across the water as the dizzy turtle made his way toward shore. The giant shook, and he shook, and as he shook, dust and pebbles fell from his stone skin. The falling stones became larger and larger, and soon enough, the giant had shaken himself completely apart. He was nothing more than a pile of rocks on the shore of the lake. Coyote heaved a heavy sigh. It was time to go home. He'd had enough playing for one day.
So, that was Michael Lang telling Coyote and the Giant. I'm sitting down with Mike now to get a little background on this story. So, Mike, where did Coyote and the Giant come from?
Coyote and the Giant was originally an Iroquois folktale. The Iroquois are a Native American tribe who used to live throughout what we would call New York. Many of the 6 tribes who made up the Iroquois still are in upstate New York. Their story was very different from this one. I made a lot of changes to it.
What kind of changes did you make to it, and why?
So one of the biggest changes that I made was introducing Coyote into the story. The original story began with this terrible giant made entirely of stone who's marauding the countryside, and the people are praying for their hero, who eventually is sent by the Great Spirit, and it's this boy who will save the people. I changed it because I was working in a lot of environments where I wasn't sure if that sort of a story was going to work. But I really love this story because this child defeats this monster with a stone skipping contest, with a game. And I thought that was really cool. So I decided to introduce Coyote, but yet keep the essence of the story of the terrible giant, the stone skipping contest, and have Coyote be the hero.
Okay. We're sitting here on Coyote's corner, and you introduce Coyote to this tale. What significance does Coyote bring to this?
Coyote is generally portrayed as a trickster and less often as a teacher. He often teaches through tricks when he teaches. And I think those are important qualities. And Coyote is also one of those characters in folklore who usually his tricks don't work out the way he planned, but he always learns something important from it, and I think that's an important lesson for life. And so Coyote brings this sort of lighthearted cleverness to the story that otherwise might not be there. The childlike wonder and excitement of he skipped a stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Hey, I skipped a stone today. I wonder if I can do it again. Ooh, it happened twice this time.
Yeah, and then to have him go and defeat the giant with that kind of, I don't want to say dopiness, but that innocence.
Right, yeah. And, to me, what's really cool about this story, and it sort of happened by accident, is the children end up teaching Coyote.
Yeah.
And how often in a story is the child the teacher? So we've got these kids who teach Coyote how to play their game. And Coyote absolutely loves it to the point where, no, you can't go home tonight. Come on, we got to keep playing. This is awesome. And then he uses that to defeat this monster that's going to eat him, with a little help from a little turtle.
Was the turtle part of the original tale?
The turtle was, actually, in the original story. He did, in fact, find the little turtle while he was looking for a stone because he had already skipped all the stones. The boy had. And the little turtle helps him, and he ends up defeating the giant.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for helping give some background to this rather fun tale. And thank you to our audience for joining us here at Coyote's Corner. Definitely check out Mike's website at coyotesinc.com. There will be a link below. He's got downloads, videos. You can stream a bunch of other stories that we've recorded. And you can even buy CDs and other merchandise there. Check it out.
Welcome to the closet of despair. It seemed he had already skipped all the perfect stones. What was he going to do? Hey, what you doing? Hey, down here. Coyote looked around. Down here. Do
you have anything you'd like to tell us about that story?
No?
Don't make me kick you.
Wait. You can't eat me. You can't eat me because I challenge you. I challenge you, giant, to a stone-skipping contest. That's pretty funny, Coyote. You're a funny guy. I'm gonna eat you anyways.